did Russia come from? Not the modern nation, but the earliest idea of a land called Rus. Who created it, who ruled it, and how did it emerge from a vast and diverse landscape of peoples and rivers? These questions are not new. In fact, they were already being asked nearly 1,000 years ago, at the very beginning of one of the most important historical sources of Eastern Europe, the primary Chronicle. This text offers a powerful and dramatic story, one that blends political memory, legend, and interpretation. But how much of it reflects historical reality? In this video, we explore the origins of Rus between approximately 900 and 1015, following the narrative of the primary Chronicle, and examining what lies behind it. According to the primary Chronicle, the origins of Rus begin with a striking idea: order imposed from outside. In a vast land inhabited by Slavs, Finno-Ugric peoples, and others, there was wealth, but no political stability. So, the people made a decision. They invited rulers from beyond their borders. Addressing the Varangians, referred to as the Rus, they declared, "Our land is vast and rich, but there is no order in it. Come and rule as princes and exercise authority over us." This moment, dated to around the year 862, marks the symbolic beginning of Rus as a political entity. The Chronicle tells us that 3 princely brothers arrived in response to this invitation, accompanied by their followers. But this unity did not last long. The 2 younger brothers died soon after, leaving one survivor, Ryuric. Ryuric consolidated power. He distributed his men across various towns, known as grady, which were already inhabited by local populations. In Novgorod lived the Slovenes, in Polotsk, the Krivichi, in Beluzero, the Vez. Ryuric ruled over them all. This image suggests not the creation of settlements from nothing, but the imposition of a new ruling structure over existing societies. The Chronicle then shifts southward. 2 Varangian figures, Askold and Dur, who were not part of the princely lineage, moved toward the Middle Dnieper region. There, they encountered a small but significant settlement, Kiev. They took control of the city and discovered that its inhabitants were already paying tribute to the Khazars. This detail is crucial. It reveals that political organization and systems of power already existed in the region before the arrival of the Rus. Soon after, a new figure enters the narrative, Oleg. He is not presented as a prince in his own right, but as a guardian acting on behalf of Ryuric's young son, Igor. Oleg confronts Askold and Dur. He accuses them of lacking legitimate princely lineage. Then, presenting the child Igor, he declares, "Here is the son of Ryuric." Askold and Dur are killed. With this act, princely authority is established in Kiev around the year 882. Oleg becomes the military leader, ruling in Igor's name. This moment is often seen as the foundation of Kievan Rus. This narrative did not disappear with time. It was repeated and expanded in later works, including Chronicles written centuries afterward. It became the foundation for understanding the political origins of regions that would later form Muscovy, and eventually, Russia. But there is a problem. The story may be too simple. Its structure resembles other European foundation myths, stories of 2 or 3 brothers establishing rule. Its timeline contains inconsistencies. Some events appear too early, others too late, and its focus is narrow, centered almost entirely on princes. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Historical evidence suggests a more complex picture. Some form of political organization already existed by the second quarter of the 9th century, possibly even earlier. The Middle Dnieper region did not immediately become a major center. Its rise as a princely hub likely occurred a generation or more after 882. Moreover, the Chronicle reflects the context in which it was written. It was compiled in the early 12th century, in the monastery of the Caves in Kiev. Its authors were not neutral observers, they were interpreting the past from their own historical position. At the time, geography played a decisive role. Major river routes connected the north to the south. Rivers like the Volkhov and the western Dvina led into the Dnieper, which flowed toward the sea. This network formed the famous route from the Varangians to the Greeks. It became a major axis of movement, trade, and influence. From this perspective, it makes sense that the chroniclers emphasized centers like Novgorod and Kiev. But they largely ignored alternative routes, such as those leading north toward the Khazars along the lower Volga, or toward the Islamic world. The Chronicle acknowledges that the land of Rus was vast and diverse. Its peoples had different customs, rituals, and traditions. Yet the text offers only limited evidence that princely authority extended evenly across multiple regions. In reality, power may have been fragmented, distributed across several centers rather than unified under a single rule. Despite its limitations, the Chronicle is not pure fiction. Archaeological discoveries support parts of its account. Sites like Staraya Ladoga show early Scandinavian presence, consistent with the arrival of Varangian groups. At the same time, other settlements, such as Murom, Sarsko, Pskov, and Izborsk, demonstrate that local populations had already established significant communities before Scandinavian influence. This reinforces a key idea. The formation of Rus was not a simple act of foundation, but a process of interaction. Even the names in the Chronicle provide clues. The name Ryurik appears to derive from the Old Norse Hururikr, a form consistent with the 9th century. His son, Igor, comes from the Old Norse Ingari. Unlike Ryurik, whose historicity is debated, Igor is widely accepted as a real historical figure. This suggests that while the narrative may be shaped and simplified, it is rooted in genuine traditions and memories. By the late 9th century, there is also archaeological evidence of northern groups present in Kiev. This supports the idea of real population movements during this period. The Chronicle captures these transformations, but imperfectly. Its authors worked with limited information. They filled gaps, simplified events, and constructed a coherent narrative where the evidence was incomplete. Ryurik is placed prominently in the mid-9th century. Igor, however, only becomes active in the mid-10th century. This gap raises important questions about what happened in between. So, where did the land of Rus come from? The primary chronicle offers one answer: a dramatic story of invitation, conquest, and princely authority. But history tells us something more complex. The emergence of Rus was not a single moment, but a gradual process. It involved migration, trade, cultural interaction, and political negotiation across a vast and diverse landscape. To truly understand it, we must look beyond a single source. We must combine chronicles written far from the events, with archaeological discoveries that are often fragmentary and ambiguous. In the end, the origins of Rus lie somewhere between narrative and reality, between what was remembered and what can still be uncovered. And perhaps, that is what makes this story so compelling.